Welcome to Talking Crue, an official Motley Crue podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Humphrey, where I talk all things in the world of Motley Crue. This is episode 132 this week. John Corabi's Horseshoes and Hand Grenades book review. But first, this week in Motley news, there is a ton of it. Happy birthday to Mick Mars, whose birthday was on Monday, May the 4th. Happy birthday, Mick. Hope you had a great one. Happy 29th anniversary to the Motley Crue song Afraid, released on May the 8th, 1997. I talk about that song and this album, Generation Swine, on episode 17, so go back and check that out. Happy 15th anniversary to the 6 a.m. album, This Is Gonna Hurt, released on May the 3rd, 2011. I'll talk about that album in the Nikki Sixx series, episode 91. John 5 is in the news. He posted a reminder to make sure you get your tickets for the upcoming UK European tour that kicks off May the 14th, so just a couple of weeks. Check out john5.com for more tour information. Then Motley Crue is in the news. On Tuesday, they will perform on American Idol on Monday night, May the 11th, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 o'clock Pacific Time. Check your local listings. I'm super freaking excited about this. My favorite band is going to be on TV. I can't wait. I seriously can't wait. I'm trying to think of songs that they could perform. My gut feeling is they're going to perform Home Sweet Home. It's a classic. It's not too loud. I also thought about Kickstart My Heart, but I think that's a little harder hitter song. But who knows? We'll see. Can't wait. So make sure you watch it. John Corabi's in the news this week. He started the U.S. solo tour as the opening act for Tom Kiefer. It started yesterday, meaning Thursday, May the 7th. Check out johncorabi.com for more ticket or tour information as well. A little bit of an update on Tommy Lee's 20th anniversary of Tommyland. Tommyland Rides Again is what he's calling it. I mentioned this a few weeks ago in Motley News that right now it's on digital pre-save that comes out May 22nd. Now the physical copy I also mentioned I have an update on. Physical, meaning vinyl and CD, is set for release August the 21st. When I find out more on this, like where you can pre-order, I'll keep you guys updated on that. And that's it in Motley News. Like I said, there was a ton of it. So let's get right into this week's episode. That's episode 132, John Corabi's Horseshoes and Hand Grenades book review. Is what I'm going to be talking about this week. On this week's episode, I'm just going to continue on what I'm calling the John Corabi series. I'm talking about stuff he did pre-Motley Crue and after Motley Crue. I started it on episode 120, John Corabi Angoria Songs Review. Episode 121 was the Scream, Let It Scream album review. Episode 122 was Union's debut album review. Episode 123 was Union Live in the Galaxy album review. Episode 124 was Union The Blue Room album review. Episode 125 was Union Do Your Own Thing live DVD review. Episode 126 was 24/7 Destination Everywhere album review. Episode 127, getting a little tongue-tied, was ESP, also known as the Eric Singer Project, Live in Japan album review. Episode 128 was John Corabi's first solo album, John Corabi Unplugged album review. Episode 129 was John Corabi Live 94 One Night in Nashville. Episode 130 was The Dead Daisies Part 1. Episode 131 was The Dead Daisies Part 2. And that leads us into this week. So let's go a little bit of info and facts on this book. It was written by John Corabi along with Paul Miles. Paul is a Motley Crue historian. In fact, I'll mention him a couple of more times in a few episodes down the road. It was published by Rare, that's R-A-R-E, Birds Book, released on June the 14th, 2022. It has 470 pages. I did read an interview while putting this episode together with John where he said he started writing this book in 2002 or 2003. Then he stopped when he started seeing other bands come out with books, so he didn't really want to jump on that bandwagon. And while he was on his solo tour to support the Live 94 album in Australia, he hooked up with friend Paul Miles, who suggested, hey, you need to finish this book. In fact, Paul helped him out with it. So here's the book. Here's the cover. Here's the back cover. I love that picture of John there. Just want to show off some stuff here. Let me get rid of that. It's got John Corabi signed. Also Paul Miles a signed autograph on this. There's some great pictures in this book as well. Here we go. John in the Angoria days. Bleach blonde hair. There. I thought this was really cool. These are pictures behind the scenes of the making of the Misunderstood song, music video. Yeah, some really cool stuff. This comes from Paul Miles' collection. Looks like different album covers of the MC94. There's on this side, this is the Scream in the studio recording their debut album. There's his son Evan behind the drum kit, his granddaughter in that page. Yeah, some really cool stuff. Him with the Dead Daisies. Yeah, really cool stuff. Just him hanging around backstage playing on an acoustic guitar. So now let's get back into this and talk about the book review. One of the many things I noticed about this book is how honest he is, how truthful he is. In fact, I've noticed it in every Motley Crue book, how honest the band is. I mean, they could have sugar-coated everything, but they come clean on all of it, warts and all. It's a real page-turner. I couldn't put this book down. He talks about growing up in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He talks about his teen years brushing up against, having brush-ups with the law. He also shows his sense of humor in this book. It's really funny, some of the stuff he talks about, as well as he talks about the music scene with bands like in Philadelphia around that time. Cinderella and Britney Fox, they were actually kind of going head-to-head against each other. He talks about that. He also talks about other bands and other artists, like Gene Simmons of Kiss. I mentioned this in the Angoria episode. Gene wanted them to change their name to 8 Ball. He talks about Poison, Guns N' Roses, Faster Pussycat, plus tons more. He also talks about Angoria. He talks about the Scream, Union, the Dead Daisies. He talks about Rat when he was in that band. And, of course, Motley Crue. He takes some funny stories, or he talks about some funny stories while being in Motley Crue. One of my favorites, in fact, I talked about this a little bit on the Unplugged album interview, where he is sharing the tour bus with Tommy Lee. And some fireworks, and they're smoking, and yeah, it's really funny. I love that. But what I really took away from the stories about Motley when he was in Motley Crue is that he doesn't sound bitter at all. He doesn't sound angry about it. He seems to embrace it. He seems to embrace his time in Motley Crue. I kind of take it that, you know, if he wasn't in Motley Crue, he probably wouldn't be a name out there like he is, and that's the way I take it. And I think it's awesome. Overall, I feel about this book, I feel it brought me closer to John in this. I think it's a must read for all. Sorry, there's my notes. For all Motley Crue fans around the world, you guys and girls need to pick this book up. I'm telling you, it is well worth the read. I loved it. I couldn't put it down. And that is the book review. Homework this week. Do you have this book? Write me a comment down below. And what do you think about this book? Write me a comment down below. Love to know. Next week, I'm going to continue on with the John Corabi series, but with the last episode. Episode 133. I can't think of a better way to end the John Corabi series than this. Episode 133, John Corabi New Day album review. His new album just came out just a couple of weeks ago. I can't wait to talk about this. I've been listening to this album the last couple of weeks. It's really good. You'll hear me gloat about it next week. And that's it for this week. If you know anybody that's a Motley Crue fan, likes to talk about Motley Crue, hear about Motley Crue, send them this way. Hit that share button, copy the link, and send it to them. Tell them go on Google, Firefox, YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Internet Explorer, Windows 98. I don't know what else is out there. Tell them to type in Talking Crue. All the episodes will pop up. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button yourself. Give me a thumbs up. I greatly appreciate it. It helps out the podcast a whole lot. I want to welcome all the new subscribers on YouTube, Facebook, and Spotify. It is absolutely freaking fantastic to have you here. I also want to thank everybody who gives me thumbs ups and does homework questions. Love that as well. And that's it. I will see you guys next Friday. And you, yes, you, just took a ride on the wild side.